How were you able to start changing your habits from being that? Because wanting 100% of the pie is kind of like how we were raised, you know, like like partnerships is not something that I was taught. Like sharing just wasn't a part of it.
No.
So how were you able to get out of the, and I'm going to generalize things here, the crab in a bucket mentality of not wanting other people in your team and all of that is just like, I want 100% of the 100% to becoming a business leader and getting 20% of the 100% because you're feeding the other 80%.
I think that came with meeting someone, a partner of mine. It was my first real partner, and realizing that he had a skill that I didn't have, and realizing I needed that skill. And in order for me to really do certain things, I needed him to be there. And at that point, I realized, all right, I can't do it by myself. And so I'll give you, he had a gift of being able to talk to anyone and get them to buy into whatever it is that we decided to do. Something that I didn't do because I was so kind of on my own, fighting the world almost, feeling like I'm always against something, like I'm always in resistance to something, right? That I didn't do that. It's either you lay down and you get down with what I'm doing, or I'm gonna push you over and I'm gonna bowl you over. That's my mentality.
Do you think that came from getting fired?
I think that came from being raised in a very rough environment.
Okay.
I think that came from literally having to survive, not monetarily wise, but having to survive physically and emotionally in a very rough environment. It was not, it was very violent. It was very, so I always on a protective mode, right? I always had a sense of like, I gotta, boss my way through something. And that translated into business. It translated in how I would treat people. A lot of my relationships were very transactional, because if you can do this for me, then we good. If not, I don't even have a lot of time to even waste time talking to you, which wasn't good because I sacrificed good relationships that could have been nurtured into things that I now understand as a man that I needed as a young boy and as a growing teenager and all those other adolescent stages. It just was very clear to me once I met my partner, together we're gonna make some real money. Like it was clear to me at that point.
I kind of want to go deeper in the how you were raised piece.
Absolutely.
Because I think that most people, especially us men, do not go back enough to understand that the reason why we're doing things and the way that we perceive things is based on how we were raised.
Absolutely.
So if you don't mind, man, like you said that things were rough, you had to kind of fend for yourself. Like, why?
Okay, so it was a cycle. Latchkey kid amongst 30 other latchkey kids.
What do you mean latchkey?
Home alone all day long, mother working, single home, single parent home, me and my brother. Basically come home, latchkey, just come home with the key, and I'm in the house, or I go outside, I'm outside till 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night. And in those times, I'm around every age group. So I'm around, at this time, let's just say I'm 13, I'm around 17-year-olds and 20-year-olds, and they're rougher, they're in the street, they're doing things, right? So I'm getting this firsthand vision of fights and violence and things happening and robbery and things of this nature, right?
And you're in New York City at this point.
And I'm in New York City at this point, I'm in New York City.
For sure.
Brooklyn. I'm in the heart of it. I'm in the heart of it. And, it was very trauma. I'm going to be honest with you, and I'm glad you said it, because it's super important, man, that we don't really understand that how much our past dictates how we see what we're going through in the present. I was afraid. I know that now. I was afraid every day because I just knew that at any moment, anything could happen. I've seen so many people shot, stabbed, cut, fought, jumped, beat up, traumatized emotionally. Like, I remember the older guys giving guys wedgies and pulling their underwears over their head, like literally, like they bleeding almost, Wow. So it was like, for me, I was like, oh my God, if that happens, at first I'm scared, but then I had to grow. I had to grow
tough.
You do that to me, I'm going to get my stick, I'm going to get a knife, I'm going to do something to you at any chance. But that mentality kind of translated into business now, right? Wow. When I first started, like, if you don't give me what I need, I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna figure out a way to get you out the way, and I'm gonna get to where I gotta go to, because nothing's gonna stop me. Instead of being cooperative, because I didn't have that in my psyche. I didn't have cooperation in my psyche. I had either you win or I win.
Stand for yourself.
There is no cooperation in this. Because you're my friend, but yet you'll still try to steal my money if I left it hanging out my pocket.
Exactly.
But I consider you my friend. So where is the line between a friendship and an enemy? And these blurred lines and these trauma relationships that I was having weren't healthy, and I didn't know that at the time, because all I knew. It was just like these, and I consider these brothers to the day. These are my brothers, but at that time and what we were going through, I don't think any of us knew that we were going through trauma, that we were going through a dysfunctional lifestyle. We had nothing to compare it to other than TV, which wasn't relatable to us, because that wasn't reality to me, right? I couldn't look at TV and say that I was ever going to be in a house with picket fence and this and that. That wasn't my reality. I was in tenements with 700 apartments in a building, right? And we all on top of each other. We all got we all sharing sugar. Hey, Miss Johnson, can I get some, some sugar? Where we didn't have this. So that was my reality. My reality was so, in the trauma of that, I think that realizing, and this is where I say being a reader helped me to start to identify at a younger age that I was seeing things that, or I was understanding things that were trauma, that weren't good, that weren't healthy for me. I was saying to myself, nah, this can't be life. This can't be reality, because everybody's not doing this, right? Like, this is just me, And lucky thing, my mother, God bless her, she took me to Africa at a very young age.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
16 years old.
Oh, wow.
And that was like I'm in that time, I'm in the midst of the jungle, right? So she took me out and took me to Africa, and I saw love amongst brothers. I saw love amongst people, holding hands, talking. I saw them respecting and honoring each other, right? I just saw a different community of people at that point, and a different way that they were relating to each other. And I came back a different person. Like, literally, that was like a huge changing point in my life. And I'm not saying it totally changed. I was still,
you still had to.
I still had to do my thing, right? But when I came back, my immediate thing was to run to my friends and say, yo, there's something different out there, bro. Like, the things we thinking we got to be doing and how we treat nah.
Isn't it crazy how your environment controls, like, your thoughts and everything? Every
single bit of it.
And like you said, when you came back, you were inspired by the idea of something else exists.
Yes.
But your behaviors and your habits, which I like to call paradigms, kept you, right? Because now you got to overcome and crush those paradigms.
Absolutely.
Right? And so, although you believed in something else, in that moment you couldn't get out of it, because you're back in that environment.
I went right back to it.
You know what I mean? And I tell people all the time, like, if you really, really, really want to change, now there are people who has changed within their environment, and man, that's amazing. Right. But to anyone that, like, you are committed to change, one of the fastest ways to get out of, to get real transformation and change is getting out of your current environment.
Absolutely.
You may not know it and understand it right now, but you're molded because of your environment. And so thanks for sharing that, bro, because I think that's really deep, because men don't realize the traumas that we have.
We don't.
Right? And digging into it, that was something that when I was going through my transformation process, I had to start really digging into, man, what got me all jacked up like this, right? Like, I became curious, bro, and so digging in was the way that I became free. Or freer still. I think there's always going to be things that I'm going to be working through, but it made me get a sense of liberty to start living the life that we live today. And so let's fast forward to